I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dave Cave. I, as always, am Dave. Now, today we're doing ReWatch Wednesday number 3, and keeping with March, I decided to review Leprechaun. Now, Leprechaun was directed by Mark Jones, stars Jennifer Aniston and Warwick Davis. This movie came out in 1993, and holy hell does it feel like it. We'll get into that in a little bit, but first we're going to break this whole thing down to 3 different parts. And first, we're going to talk the good, and the best of this movie is Warwick Davis's portrayal as the Leprechaun. The way he just plays, he has like a angry, playful nature to him. He's generally pissed the whole time, but he's happy about it. And just the way he plays that, it's very creepy. I think because he gives himself so much to the role that they could have done a lot more with it. I haven't seen any of the other ones at all. I've only seen this one, and I saw this one a long time ago, and then obviously when I rewatched it for this. But the way he plays the Leprechaun, they could have done a lot more with it, and we'll get into that more in the bad. But he for sure was a carrying force for me in this movie. Another really good part of this, oddly, was Jennifer Aniston in this movie. The only downside I would say to her performance in this movie, because she is a pretty good actor, but it's the same character as she is in everything. I could see the same character she is in We're the Millers. I can see Rachel from Friends. I can see her other roles in this role, which kind of makes it seem like she might be more of a one-trick pony than I thought. But she has that level of acting brought into this movie. Granted, the writing's not all that great. We're also going to get into that in the next section. Just hold on. What was surprisingly good for me in this movie was oftentimes the practical effects for the kills and the gore and all that were pretty good. There are a couple times it really doesn't go well, but like the kill for the Leprechaun, the way they handle a couple of the more bloody parts, the makeup and effects for that are really good. And I always thought, and I was surprised how well it held up, because I have a fond memory of it from years and years ago of watching Leprechaun. Rewatching it now, I was expecting that his makeup was going to look like shit, but it doesn't. It actually looked really good, and to me, aged pretty well. On this one alone, I thought the makeup effects on Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun was really good. I think they did a really good job with that, and that helped lend to his performance for me. Like I said, the character of the Leprechaun carried this movie immensely. And the last good thing about this movie, unfortunately there's a lot more bad than there is good, the last good thing was the concept of this movie. What I like so much about the concept of this movie is that it's simple. You have a leprechaun, his gold was taken, you have the whole, you find a leprechaun, you get his gold, yeah, you should be happy and rich, like O'Grady thinks he is at the beginning of this movie. But then you have that and you twist it into the leprechaun is going to want his gold back. And like I said, it's a very simple concept, but unfortunately in this movie, it's pretty poorly executed. I think with the right tweaks and the right production company behind it, this could actually have been a really good film. And I know they just came out with Leprechaun Returns. I have a feeling that might be a little bit more in line of what I was hoping this one could be. So I guess I'm going to have to go and check that one out. Okay, now moving on to the bad. Like I said, the bad far outweighs the good in this movie, unfortunately. And really, it's kind of hard to find a spot to start. But let's start with the writing. The dialogue was real weak. The characters make some really stupid decisions. Like Tori, Jennifer Aniston's character, she goes to find out how to beat the Leprechaun. And then does she turn and go to the cops after they, after they lured him away with shoes because he has some weird fucked up shoe shine fetish? No. She takes that information and goes back to the farm. Doesn't get a whole police station of guys to go with her. She just goes and figures, hey, we're going to figure this out by ourselves. Why the hell would you do that? You've tried multiple times to get a hold of the cops. What the hell? And yes, I'm aware that this movie came out in 1993, and I'm bitching about it now. Had I been doing this in 1993, I'd be saying the same thing. And now, I know that the movie doesn't cover a broad span of time, but I didn't really like how quickly they all become familiar. And I understand that you have to progress a movie, but you have these people talking to each other like they've known each other for a long time. You know, sure, the painters have known each other, Nathan and Ozzy, and they've known because they work together. But then you insert Tori, and Tori, you know, snaps at Ozzy at one point. You know, I'm sick and tired of your fantasies and your magic and all that crap. It's like, you've known this dude for like 6 hours. Like, what do you mean you're tired of it? He's said stuff maybe 2-3 times, and a couple of the times weren't even to you. You're off trying to get in Nathan's pants. Like, pump your brakes and chill the fuck out. They have a part where the Leprechaun gets a go-kart and flips a truck, which I understand you're supposed to be suspending some belief that there's a Leprechaun, but there's no way that unless he had fired off some kind of like magic bolt and flipped the truck, that little thing was going to flip that truck. It doesn't work. Another part is you can sometimes tell the production design. And sure, it's 1993, but there's one point where Tori goes to give the Leprechaun his gold back. And you can see the string when she is holding it in her hand, and then he does a little magic bolt with the green and it grabs it. You can see the string bring it to his hand. It's like... And now, my last negative for this movie, and it's a big one, is the way they utilized the Leprechaun. Now, I understand that the Leprechaun has claws. He's got messed up teeth. He's got super strength. He rips a door off a car. I understand that he is an exceptional being, so to speak. But there's one point where Nathan picks him up, and the Leprechaun speaks the line, "Hey, put me down." When you have a character that can say that to one of the protagonists, that person is not, or that character, sorry, is not a physical threat. There should be no point where that character is chasing another person in the movie. Like the Leprechaun's chasing Tori at one point, and you're like, why doesn't she, you know, it's the same problem with Child's Play that a lot of people have. Why doesn't she turn around and fucking punt him through the uprights? Doesn't make sense, because they even show that you just gotta pick him up. And then he'll say, put me down. It's like, pick his ass up, throw him. Pick it up again, throw him. What they should do then is they should have his source of fear and the source of dread that he tries to bring out of the audience is in the magic. You get this a little bit with the cop kill, because, you know, he's behind one tree. He's behind another tree. He's behind another tree. He's behind another tree. And he's just messing with him, going back and forth and back and forth. And then, you know, snaps his neck, which, you know, that has their strength. But he didn't have to chase him. He messed with his mind. He misdirected him. He used his magic against him. And then he showed up and killed him. There should be more kills like that with the Leprechaun. He's not a physical force. His power is in his magic. And you should ride with that. Now we're moving on to the last part of the review, the ugly. The kills. I thought the kills in this movie were okay. There really aren't many of them. Like the O'Grady kill, we see that off camera. The kill of the shopkeeper I thought was easily the coolest one that the Leprechaun performs. But the problem with that is the execution of it. Like I said, it's a cool concept, and they could have had it be a little bit more frightening and more imposing. But it wasn't done well, so it's a pretty weak kill overall, but it's one of the few straight up kills he has in this movie, so he gets points for that. And like I said, the cop kill, that was really cool. And even better is that later the Leprechaun takes a nightstick to the eye, loses his eye, and takes the cop's eye, pulls it out. The effects on that I thought were pretty cool. Like I said, sometimes the effects are really good in this movie. Takes that out, pops it in his own eye. I thought that was really gnarly. And the death of the Leprechaun himself, the death, obviously they leave it on a gigantic cliffhanger in this movie, but the death of the Leprechaun I thought was really cool. The way he melts and, you know, falls in the well and all that stuff. I thought the effects for that were pretty solid and very on par, maybe a little bit better than 1993. Okay, now for some final thoughts on this movie. This is not a good movie. I could see maybe breaking it out every year for a March tradition and then locking that shit away. You don't get really any kind of scare from this movie. It very much shows its age in terms of, you know, 1993 and the production design. You could tell that unfortunately, it doesn't really take itself seriously, but then sometimes it really takes itself seriously. And because it can't decide which way it wants to be, I think the whole concept suffers, so that kind of sucks. And what I found very curious, was a little self-observation, is that when I was done with it, I didn't hate my time with it, oddly, despite the many flaws that this movie had, and the fact that it's pretty ridiculous at sometimes, and the fact that it has pretty much zero horror, like, pull for me. I didn't hate it. I could see watching it again. I'm probably not going to, but I didn't hate it. And I'm just going to throw this one out there because I'm curious, and I heard that he's in Leprechaun Returns. I'm going to be very interested to see if the coin that Ozzy swallowed in this comes into play in that movie. What about you guys? Have you guys seen this movie? Do you watch it every year as a tradition? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know. Hit the comments below. And also let me know while you're down there, should I spend my time with the rest of the series, or should I just skip to Returns? Because I've heard Returns is actually pretty decent, but there's a hell of a journey between that. You got space, you got the hood, and then back to the hood, and I don't even know how many in between. So hit the comments below and let me know. Now, before we get out of here, for my random recommendation of the month, keeping in line with the whole spirit of Warwick Davis, my recommendation this month is Willow. It has Val Kilmer, Warwick Davis, obviously. It's directed by Ron Howard. It's a knights, wizards kind of movie, sorcery, all kinds of cool shit in that movie. I have a lot of fun with it. I pop it in all the time, so go check that one out. And if you have something you would like me to check out for a possible random recommendation of the month, hit the comments below, let me know, and if I like it, I'll give you a shout out in the next video when I use it as a random recommendation of the month. And be sure to check me out on Twitter and Instagram at @TheDaveCave_. I'll be posting there when I'm not posting here. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping by. See you guys soon. Take care.